moving on to the last two segments of the night, we're going to talk a little bit about. We'll talk a bit about Predator Hunting Grounds.
Yeah.
So you and I sat down the other night to kind of get our final thoughts together on the game, and we kind of had a few games. We played together online. I'll ask you first. What were your initial impressions of the game before patch, pre-patch, and post-patch?
Yeah, so what we're referencing to is patch 1.6, I believe.
1.06, yeah.
1.06, thank you. So both you and I, Dash, we played this at launch, so, we were both provided codes as from PlayStation Australia. We had different approaches because of it. So, early on, I couldn't get a game for the life of me. 45-minute waits, actual... cannot get in.
Yep.
Cannot get in games. So we're trying to get ahead of this review because it is day of release.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, let's smash it.
Yep.
Can't get a game.
Nope.
It's impossible.
Yep.
But we did have a look, and when we discovered that there had been a patch, and in the patch notes, they mentioned one of the fixes essentially being netcode fixes. Both you and I were like, okay, look, let's give it another run.
Yep.
Let's give it another run.
Yeah.
So you and I spent a couple of hours on it, and I actually had a more enjoyable experience.
Same.
Although I don't think there was any overall upgrades in terms of appearance, gameplay that I could notice. They did mention in the patch notes of changes to some sort of gameplay elements. Overall, it's felt like the same package, but I do feel that there was some bias by accident. By having to sit there and wait for this game in order for you to get in, and by the time you get in, you're already angry.
Yeah.
So the game, the game doesn't look immaculate.
No.
But because you're already frustrated, you're like, oh, and the game looks like shit too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that placebo effect, as you put it. It's one of those things where, in essence, when pre-patch, I'm talking here, when you sat in that lobby for such a long time and waiting to actually join a game, and you're just frustrated beyond belief that you're actually not playing it yet, you're in game, and the roughness, because how rough the game really is, it's rough around the edges altogether. And I didn't expect anything less from IllFonic, to be honest, in terms of that, because of my experience playing Friday the 13th. But it was just one of those things where it just angered me that I had to wait that long to get into a game, and then had to, and just the experience of the game, what it delivered, it was not worth that wait. It was not worth that 45-minute wait, that lobby wait. It was just a fuck you almost.
Yeah, but once we were getting into matches in 2 minutes, and then even if the gameplay itself was 8 minutes, it's all right, cool, let's dive back in.
Yeah.
So we actually ran through a ton of matches. You and I, we both got to experience, because we were playing together, which we will automatically shoot into fire team.
Yep.
Which was interesting. We understand why, from a gameplay perspective, why we wouldn't be separated. Because if I was the Predator, I could be like, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah, there was a staggering improvement in terms of lobby times and everything after the post,
and even just matchmaking as well.
Yeah.
Pings were better.
Yep.
We were getting more full lobbies.
Yeah.
Okay, there were improvements overall, and then by the nature of that, and I do believe that you and I playing together also changed our approach to it.
There was a better dynamic. Yeah.
There was we were discussing that there are lulls in the game, and that is when you're being the fire team, you are just hitting your objectives, you are getting what you need to be done. Yeah. But when the Predator gets involved, it becomes fucking intense, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And those couple of minutes are gnarly. And then when you happen to down the Predator, you and I both did the whole yes, as when we sort of teamworked on it, and those moments are what these multiplayer games are trying to get, and it does deliver those things, but it's just everything in between them that every outlet ever, that moment to moment gameplay is just not quite there to really justify those big payoff moments.
Yeah, I think what it was really was because of its initial presentation and what it promised. I remember when it was revealed back at the May State of Play last year. My thought was, man, this is gonna be rough, just based on my thought of Friday the 13th. And yeah, it was rough. It's rough around the edges. And then once again, with the patch coming out, it's still rough. It's not like I'm telling... Like, it's an arena shooter that is just... There's not that added layer of polish to it, regardless of a patch or not. While I did have a better time playing it post-patch with you, I still felt that it was too unpolished for me to still appreciate. It still had... the AI was still dumb as fuck. It felt very much like I was playing with a bunch of zombies on the map. The gameplay itself is still rough. Like, some of the netcode improvements, and I put that in quotations, that they've made are really not improvements. A lot of the AI are try to act as an overlaid distraction while you're actually trying to kill Predator in the game. It becomes an annoyance more than anything. So there is. Yeah.
So to add to what you're saying, there is that issue. Like when for those who don't know, when you're playing, although you are on your objectives and there is the Predator, there is the threat of AI as well. So they have these basic grunts, there's some heavies as well, and they sort of populate the objective points. So when you're in there, you also have to worry about the AI, and you also have to worry about the Predator.
Yep.
Now, saying that though, the AI is dumb as fuck. You walk in there, and they if you trigger an event, they will almost like PS2. You could sit there and they see you, and they just run into an open area, stand still, and shoot you. There is no complex to it, which I understand why, because if you got complex AI and you're fighting a Predator, there is a concern. But they are at a point where they are just an inconvenience.
Yes.
Like their damage is a little bit too high to be just mooks.
Yeah.
So it was some of the early games that we played, like that's what took me out, not the Predator, this AI that just popped up out of nowhere and wrecked my day. Yeah. Like normally, like they do kind of come in from off the mini map and they make their way through. Yeah. But occasionally one just pops up in the middle and like, you know, a heavy just gets behind me and shotguns my back. Yeah. And that is actually a massive deterrent for the game. But I understand why it's there. It's supposed to be sort of like little choke points, which is fine from a gameplay perspective, from what they're trying to deliver. But the execution is the problem. So I think that actually explains Predator Hunting Grounds as a whole, right? Yeah. Like it is great in premise. Yep. The idea of a predator, like one of the ultimate hunters in popular culture, versus a group of people, like it's asymmetrical multiplayer at its kind of finest, right? Yeah. Because the right on the ground, the concept is awesome. However, the execution, whether it be in the online delivery, whether it be in the gameplay, whether it be in the visuals, whether it be sound design, like everything just didn't quite execute the best that it could have. Yeah. And I don't think that is a fault of IllFonic, because I do think in some ways that this is in fact an improvement over Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. It pales to comparison. Like Friday the 13th pales in comparison to this. Like this is way better than that game. Way better.
So they certainly have improved what they do here, because this is with this is their two sort of big games. Yep. Like they're like, okay, this is what we do. We make asymmetrical multiplayer. And like, all right, cool. Oh, sorry, my son's come in, and you're also not wearing pants. You're gonna be very careful.
Oh, here we go.
Boom. 2 hands. Sorry. For fun fact, my son doesn't really like to poo that often.
Oh, great.
For some reason. Just fun fact, everyone. So I've kind of had to, we give him fist bumps when he does. It's a little like positive reinforcement. So you have to come in to tell me that he's done poos.
Oh, fantastic.
So go my son, I guess. But yeah, so like in terms of IllFonic, like that they've made their tent poles. That's cool. That's awesome. And they have showed growth and improvement. One sec, mate. They have growth and improvement within their genre, and cool. So if anything, it makes me wonder whatever their next one would be,
Yeah.
could that potentially be something amazing?
Yeah, of
Because
course.
they are still a AA studio at their core, and they've delivered something pretty good for AA, but it also could have been so much better.